Julia here from JM2 Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with the Ship With Me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. We are still squarely in the dead of summer. I'm filming this on July 21st, so we're kind of at the tail end of true summer shopping. Statistically, the busiest vacation weeks of the year are the 3rd and the 4th weeks of July. So by the time this goes live, which should be next Thursday, we should really be at the last death rattle. So hopefully from this point on, everybody starts to see a little increase as back to school shipping starts. And I hope that for you, I hope that for me, I hope that for all of us. But before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, it is late in the afternoon. I gotta get these things packed up and off to the post office ASAP. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. So I will say this has been a really unusual weekend of sales. I want to say that the average length in inventory of things here is like 260 days. So we cleared out some old stuff, but I think a lot of this video is going to be talking about things that I will no longer be picking up. And as we all know, sometimes knowing what not to pick up is just as valuable as what to pick up. So buckle up, this is going to be an interesting one. And the first thing we have here are these adorable Donald J. Pliner sandals. Now, these are in pretty close to brand new condition. It looks like they've maybe been worn like once, maybe twice. They're in great shape. They are a smaller size, but I've had these for almost 2 years. Now, I pre-stuffed these sandals to make sure that those straps hold shape in shipment. I absolutely recommend that you do the same, and I also recommend that when you are shipping shoes, you wrap them individually, especially if you have anything on the shoes, like metal, buckles, anything like that, that might damage what the shoes are made of. Somebody said it once in a comment, and it's so true, like the shipping process is violent. So especially when you're dealing with something that's like bulky and rigid, having metal buckles or sharp objects kind of loose in a box of, you know, somewhat fragile materials, leather, suede, silk, etc., can be a dangerous game to play. Now, Donald J. Pliner is kind of akin to a comfort shoe brand. They're not quite, they're a little bit more fashion than comfort, but the build quality is always exceptional and the focus is always on comfort. They're just a little bit more fashion facing than some comfort shoes that you see out there, but I think they're kind of a similar buying pool. But yeah, I've had these for a while and I've had quite a few looks and questions on them. And I don't know if the holdup on them was because of the size. I want to say that these were a size 5.5 or what the case may be, but yeah, unfortunately, these just took a little too long to justify me picking these up. I might pick them up at the bins if they are a more like standard size, just to kind of test that theory, but I certainly will not be paying up for them anytime soon, unless I'm buying for myself, in which case all day, because these retail like $200-300. They're super expensive. Anyway, I had these listed at time of purchase at $32. I know I had dropped the price on these a couple times over the years, and I got an offer for $28, which I was glad to accept. I'm glad to be moving these on. And with a $1 cost at the bins, they brought me to a profit of $21.48. You know, I was kind of coming up on a little bit of an audit for my shoes. I don't have a ton of shoes, but I do have a few pairs that have kind of been hanging around for a little bit too long. And these were definitely on the chopping block, and I'm just really happy that I'm getting them out into some more use because, again, Donald J. Pliner shoes are amazing. Next up, these cuties. This is from Derek Lamb, 10 Crosby. I've had so much interest in these, again, a size 2, so I think that the size really kind of held these up. But these are a linen blend, short, kind of paper bag, short style with cute belt. I am obsessed with this fabric, this kind of multicolored stripe. Derek Lamb, 10 Crosby, very expensive brand. This is the only time I've ever found it while out thrifting, and these did take a little while to sell. They were also like a small size and a higher price point, and that combination can oftentimes take a little bit longer. Now, if this was more in the bread and butter sales territory, my opinion would be different, right? So it's always a process of like weighing what I'm gonna get for it, what kind of product is it special, do I feel some kind of way about keeping it out Like this isn't the kind of thing that you can just go and find another. Like this is just an unusual piece. It's an unusual size and it's unusually beautifully made. So the answer is absolutely, even though this took a while to sell, I will absolutely pick up Derek Lam anytime I see it. So I had these listed at $64 and I had them listed for about 9 months. And I got an offer for $50, which I gladly accepted with a $4 cost at a little boutique thrift that I go to around here. This brought me to a profit of $36 even, and these were a sale over on Poshmark. I hope she absolutely loves them because these shorts are so stinking adorable. I can't even handle it. And if these were my size, this is 1000% the kind of thing that I would have kept for myself. I feel like that's the fun of thrifting for resale. Like, when I go out, maybe 1 in every 20 things that I find is something that would fit me. Doing this allows me to pick up all those gorgeous things in all the sizes and kind of thrift for other people. That makes me so happy. Next up, we have the most delicious little bag from Whiting and Davis. And if this looks familiar to you, that is because this was actually purchased and returned. And Whiting and Davis is kind of the originator of this metal mesh style purse. It had a big moment in the 70s. This, I want to say, was probably like late 50s, early 60s, just going on the style. But you absolutely positively want to keep your eyes out for that label because some of their pieces, and I mean, they've been doing this, I want to say that I've seen some pieces from like the early 1900s, like 1910s or so, when they were all like silver metal mesh bags. Some of their pieces go very high in value. This I love just because it feels very different from the stuff that they typically do. A lot of their stuff are like little shoulder bags, kind of dainty. This is chunky and big and the links are big. And I was so excited to find it. This is the kind of thing when it lands in the bins, it's a real sin. Had to build a little bit of a makeshift structure in here to keep it protected in transit. But either way, I had this listed for 2 months after it came back to me, and I had it listed for $60 and I got an offer for $50, which I did accept. With a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $37.20. And this was a sale over on eBay. So I hope she loves it. It's just so cute. And I was like heartbroken when it came back, but hopefully it's now going on to where it needs to be. Next up, we've got a little 3-piece bundle here, and we've got some cute pieces, but definitely some pieces that I've had for a little while. This is a cute little pair of linen paper bag waist shorts. It's 2 paper bag waist shorts that sold in 1 week. These are from C&C California, which used to be a brand I would pick up on like slow days. And basically some point like last summer, sales of it just kind of fell off of a cliff for me. I see them in like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and the like. So not super surprised there. But either way, these have been on the chopping block and I'm glad to be getting them on to a new owner. These cute pair of Zara jeans. Now Zara jeans is an interesting one because they used to sell very, very well for me. And again, probably about some point last summer, they like fell off a cliff. Even though I just think the thing with Zara denim is that it's very hard to buy online. Like I've gone into Zara stores and had the same size fit like 2 sizes too small and also 2 sizes too large. So I kind of understand why. I never understood why it sold so well, but I've stopped picking it up and again, glad to be moving these on. And then this last piece is this adorable Cupro shirt from Maven West. Now Maven West is a pretty high-end like boutique brand. And a lot of their stuff is Cupro, which is like vegan silk. Cupro in and of itself is a cellulose fiber. So in the same family as a Tencel or a Modal. But Maven West like retails very, very high. And I've had a lot of pieces from Maven West sell very, very well for me. This one in particular did not. I don't think it photographed that well, this tie-dye. It's not super vibrant either way. Another one that I had had for a while, so I'm happy to be moving these on to a new home. And that's the little bundle there. And Maven West is definitely a brand I would still be keeping your eyes out for. This is the only piece I've ever had that's kind of sat around for a while. So I think that this was a little bit of an anomaly. Zara jeans I would probably hold off on unless you're really familiar with Zara jeans and that whole scene. And C&C California, same deal. They can be decent bread and butter, but I probably wouldn't expect more than like $10, maybe $15 on any of their pieces. Let me know if any of you guys have better experience with C&C. I don't know if what I've experienced is an anomaly in my closet. So this bundle price, the total price was about $100 and my bundle price was about $80. And and I got an offer for $50, which I did accept. Again, glad to be moving some of these kind of pieces that have been hanging out in my closet for a little while on. And with a $3 total cost on the pieces, this brings me to a profit of $37 even. This is of course a sale over on Poshmark. But yeah, the average length that these items sat in my closet is about a year. So I'd much rather move them out in a bundle like this. I would obviously much rather get them back out into the world and getting some use than donating them back, because ideally I like to keep good pieces out of the waste stream. Next up, this was a cute one. This is an adorable little woven kimono from Free People. Now, I find a lot of kimonos. I do not find a lot of Free People kimonos. I think I've only found 3 or 4. They always sell really well for me. Definitely a little bit higher than I get for more boutique brand kimonos. But especially right now, vacation time, we're still in the dead of summer, these kind of things will sell quick. This is super cute too. Like this with the colors, it's a lot more of like a dark jewel tone, so like navy blue, burgundy. This can easily translate into fall as like a little topper piece. That being said, with it being, basically at the cusp of the end of summer, Free People kimonos I'm always gonna pick up, higher end kimonos I'm always gonna pick up, but more summer focused kimonos that are definitely more in that bread and butter $10, $15 range, I would probably stop picking those up right about now, especially if you're paying up for them, because chances are they're not going to be a super quick sale. I feel like swimwear sales start to pick up right around Christmas, and I think that's because people are, starting to plan their spring break and stuff like that. But it's a little bit of a no man's land between now and then, because everybody's picking up holiday party things, sweaters, stuff for the winter. But either way, I had this listed for about 2 weeks. And I had it listed at $36. I sent an offer for $32, which was accepted. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $23.60. And this was a sale over on Poshmark. So I hope she loves it. Again, a perfect little like swim cover up that can go right into fall. Next up, now this is one that I will pick these kind of shirts up anytime I see them. This is vintage, probably from about the 70s, maybe 80s. This is from a designer called Paul Stanley, and this is just a silk round neck short sleeve blouse. These are perfect for, this is like a closet staple, right? You can wear this to work, you can wear this with a fun fashion outfit. The silk is gorgeous, and it's a plus size. This is, I want to say an 18. Yeah, size 18, and actually like a true size 18, not like a vintage size 18. And these kind of things do quite well for me. I've sold a lot of these kinds of shirts. And I'll tell you, they sell for a pretty good price as well. So if you see them in the regular thrift and they're, $4.99, $5.99, I would still pick them up. As long as they're silk, as long as they're not like extra, extra small, and as long as they're in great condition. I like to talk about the gateway drugs to vintage dressing, and stuff like this is a perfect example. This is something that's very easy to style, and it's easy to mix in with a more modern wardrobe. And it's not like hitting you over the head with vintage style. Vintage basics are like my favorite kind of vintage to pick up. Not the most fun kind of vintage to pick up, but in terms of like sales, vintage basics are my favorite. You and I know that my favorite kind of vintage to pick up is vintage like cocktail dresses. They take a while to sell, but what a joy they are to have pass through my hands. So I had this one listed for about 7 months, which is kind of unusual because these usually go a little bit quicker than that. Most of the ones I've had, I actually checked this before I filmed today, have sold within like a month. So this was an unusual one. Maybe it was because it was the larger size, but either way, I had this listed at $38 and it popped through as a full price sale. So again, a lot of vintage things, that's the double-edged sword you're kind of dealing with. It's gonna be a better sale price, but it's gonna take a little bit longer. Anyway, popped through as a full price sale with a $1 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $30.57, and this was a sale over on eBay. Hope she absolutely loves it. What a dreamy little cream top. All right, next up, we've got this amazing vintage beaded sequined evening jacket from Adrianna Papell. This is Papell Boutique Evening. The jacket itself is 100% silk. This thing is beaded and sequined to the gods, and it's in fantastic condition. This is one of those kinds of things that I just can't leave behind. Just the beading work is so beautiful, and I know somebody's gonna love it. I found a couple of these pieces from like the 80s, like the dresses, and I will snap them up when I see them. Especially if you can find a white one, just because there's a little bit of a link to Dolly Parton. And you wanna make sure that when you find these kinds of pieces that you're using, not just like evening jacket, because a lot of, this can be purchased to be used as an evening jacket as intended. But it's also just as good a chance that this is gonna be used as like a costume piece, because these are so iconically like late 80s, early 90s. And I just thought this one was so stunning with these little floral patterns right there. Oh, so pretty. These are, again, the kinds of things that'll probably take a little bit of extra time, and they are on the bulkier side, so just bear that in mind if you've got a limited storage situation, but they will tend to sell for a pretty good price when they do sell. Now this one I've had listed for about 6 months. It's about what I see on pieces like this, anywhere between like 6 and 8 months, depending on the time that I find it, right? This is definitely not like a summer piece. And I had it listed at $58 and it popped through as a full price sale. So always happy when that happens. With a $1 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $46.30. And this was a sale over on eBay. Just gorgeous. Hope she absolutely loves it. This is a like impeccable condition as well. And then finally, this super fun Stella McCartney for Adidas jacket. Now this is something that I bought at a little boutique thrift store that I go to. And this was one of the pieces that they had marked up. And I paid up for it and I didn't comp it in store. And when I got home, I did comp it and kind of swiftly realized that I wasn't gonna be making any profit on this. I mean, you win some, you lose some, and you learn every day, right? But Stella McCartney for Adidas is definitely a collab that sells well. It's just maybe not worth paying up for it in any kind of serious way. I wanna say I paid $28 for this. So off the bat, not worth it. We share the bad and the good here, right? Either way, I had this listed at $54 and I had it for about 2 months. So it did sell on the quicker side. And I got an offer for $40, which I did accept, which is kind of what I expected to get for it. And with a $28 cost at the thrift store, I basically lost $2 on this. So. Anyway, this was a sale over on eBay. Lesson learned. I hope they love it. It is such a cute little jacket. And again, something that I will absolutely pick up at regular thrift store prices. I will pick this up at the bins, but I probably won't be paying up for it on a jacked up price kind of a way anymore. That is it, guys. That is the shipment for this weekend. Some really interesting stuff to talk about. Like I said, lots of what I won't be buying anymore. And again, that can sometimes be just as valuable. But hopefully, guys, by the time that this video comes out, we are starting to see a little bit of an uptick into the back to school buying season. Make sure you're getting your fall pieces listed, your sweaters, your light jackets, etc. Holiday is right around the corner, so while we're a little bit slower, get yourself organized. Take this time to really gear up for the heavier buying season. But thank you guys so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. It is always so nice to have somebody to yak with while I get these things packaged up. But I gotta get these things off to the post office, so if you guys had fun, please consider leaving a like or comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. And without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.